This is, I will confess, and I've said it before and I'll say it again, this is my dream job, Sean.
I'm the best in the community, and I like to give back to the community that's given me so much.
We had focused on several sites initially. Well, I think this is where Dave and I, do
Welcome to the LynnCAM TV Show, where we focus on organizations and issues affecting the city of Lynn. Here with me today to discuss their organization and some of their continuous improvements, we have the leaders of NAGLY, North Shore Alliance of Gay, Lesbian, Bisexual, and Transgender Youth. These guys are located at 211 Bridge Street in Salem, Mass. Their age bracket that they focus on are ages 14 to 23. We're going to get into the organization in some detail about some of the services and programs that they offer. But as you know, at home, we like to start the program off with a little bit of how to get to know you. So we've got Stephen Harrington, Executive Director, Glenda Torres, Adult Advisor Intern, and Mari Georgie Lakis. We'll get that eventually at the end of the show. Not as many syllables as I used. But she's a peer leader over there. So guys, let's just talk a little bit about who you are and how you're involved in the organization.
Well, first, thanks for having us here, Sean, and thanks to LynnCAM as well. My name's Steve Harrington. I started out on the board of directors of NAGLY about 7 years ago. Was made aware of the organization through a friend who was on the board, and then stepped back for about 6 months and was asked to come back on last July 1st as the interim executive director until we can appoint a full-time long-range one.
Awesome. All right, Glenda.
Hi, I'm Glenda, and I got involved in NAGLY through a project, actually. A friend actually said, oh, there's LGBT groups around, and I wanted to check it out. So I was a youth for about 3 years, and then I got involved as a volunteer, and now I'm an adult advisor intern.
Excellent. All right, Mari.
I'm Mari, and I've been going to NAGLY for about 5 years now. I started off as a youth. I came when I was about 17, and I really liked what they were doing, and I just decided to get involved, and I became a youth advisor, and then just from there, I've been a youth advisor since.
Awesome. So we got a good idea about how you guys got started at the organization. Let's talk a little bit about the background of NAGLY itself. Stephen, you said that you've been involved for over 70 years. How long has the organization been been existing?
I believe this is the 23rd year, so it's been around an awful long time.
No kidding.
It started out with just 4 or 5 kids and 1 or 2 youth advisors and a couple of adult advisors, and it has grown exponentially over the last 20 years. We had a big celebration 3 years ago with our 20th anniversary. We generally have between 15 and 60 sometimes youth at the meetings. So as far as how many youth are involved, it's really difficult to tell because there are different youth. Some come every week, some come once a month, some come twice a year. So it's hard to tell, but you can be assured that over the 20 years we've aided hundreds of LGBT youth.
Yeah, anytime you come into a situation where an organization's been around for 10 plus 20 years, usually they're doing something right. And the community sees that there's value in them. So I commend you guys on exactly what you're doing. There's a lot of outreach, and it's not easy being an advocator. I mean, this is something you have to live, breathe, sleep, and die. And it's like, one thing that I always hear around Lynn is like, Lynn, city of sin. And it's like, look, I'm from Lynn. I was born there. I'm not a bad guy. I'm not sinful. So don't say those things, And we live, sleep, eat, breathe that at LynnCAM too. So I want to talk a little bit about the organization and your mission. Steve, you could probably take this one.
Well, our mission is to serve the LGBT youth population on the North Shore and even beyond there. We advocate for programs, for policies, for good health, for anything that's going to aid them in their gaining maturity and confidence and security going forward. So it ranges. We have programming every week that ranges from safe sex to open mic to movie night to trips, and so it really covers a vast array of topics.
Like a community within a community.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
One thing that I wanted to mention, these guys have meetings every Tuesday, 6 to 9 p.m. This is held at their Salem location, 211 Bridge Street. So if you want to come down and maybe you're just interested or maybe you know somebody who could benefit from it, come on down. It's 6 to 9 p.m. We'll go over that a lot, Nagley. So let's talk a little bit about the programs that you guys offer. Over there, you know, creating awareness about that there's help available for these teens, for these young kids who don't really have all the options. Maybe there's a family member that is tough to identify with, you know, and they need to really reach out to the community. They can't go to people at school because they're afraid of, you know, maybe getting bullied or, you know, not being accepted for who they are. So let's talk about some of the programs. Who wants to take this one?
I can.
Go ahead, Glenda.
Some of the programs are a simple cup discussion where everyone, all the youth, put their questions into a bowl and we go around discussing it with each other. So we help each other through our experiences and we try to advise not only the staff but the youth themselves. I really like to see that because they express themselves and they really try to help each other. Another program, we'll have a movie night, you know, where everyone just shows up. We pick a movie at random, everyone votes on it, and it feels like a day at home, and it feels like a huge family just like gathering to eat snacks and watch a movie together. There's safe sex meetings where we can we do Jeopardy, so we split up in teams and we have fun with safe sex information.
What is protection? Right. Is that what I get?
Yes, yes.
They have to answer that way too, right?
Yes,
Okay.
they do. And if they don't know the answer, that's fine. We just inform them, and nothing is wrong. We don't take bullying. If we see it, we stop it right away. We explain that we're a family and we want to be there for each other. And once we see cliques, we break them up and explain to them that we're all friends and we're all going through this together. So it's a sense of a family, and when a youth comes up with a subject that they really want to bring to the rest of the group, we let them. You know, there's a suggestion box, and there's also the garden where they plant their idea and we watch it grow.
All right. So there's a lot going on there.
Yeah.
Now you'd mentioned before that these kids, I mean, they come to you for concerns and things like that. Is there any correlation that you see more than anything else? Is there something that is more prevalent in these guys in regards to their concerns?
I think coming out to their family and friends, that's a big concern. They're just not comfortable or not ready, but they really want to be themselves. So at Nagley, they get more self-confidence, and we also talk about the subject so they can get insights from all the different youth that have gone through it, and also the adult advisors. We have had these experiences as well, so we also step in whenever they can't figure it out, or we even do role play if they want to pretend like there's parents, or you want to come out at work. We work through it to make sure that they feel supported and that they're not alone and that everything will be okay.
One of the things that I really want to point out that I should have said at the very beginning is this is a youth-led organization. It is not adult-led. It's adult-supervised. So all the programming comes out of the youth. They're the ones that suggest things. They're the ones that develop the programs. We just supervise them. And I think that's really, really critical to understand, is that when youth come, they are the organization. And we just sit back. Well, we don't sit back, but we guide them and assist them. But it's 100% youth-run organization. They run the meetings. We can have guest speakers come in, but it's the youth that introduce them and go forth with the programming. The second really important thing is that it's all confidential. You don't have to use your real name. We have a check-in at the very beginning where you say your name, your age, and what town you're from. And everything after that is all confidential. So there should be no concerns about things getting outside of those walls. And we're very diligent about that.
That's awesome. I mean, these kids are actually, I mean, not only are they learning how to advise other people, but I mean, they're getting work experience. It's an interesting way to run the organization. How did that come about? I mean, I know the organization's been around 20 plus years, and whether or not you were involved in that, but I mean, why do you think it is that NAGLY is youth run?
I think it's from Bagley, which was the first one of these organizations that is out of Boston, thus the B. And when they formed, that was exactly the way that they were formed. It's youth run, adult supervised. And I think it really engenders those youth to feel a sense of confidence and control over their surroundings and over the programming.
Yeah, pride too. I mean, there's like,
Yes.
there's nothing more gratifying than at the end of the day you see like a hard day's work put in, and you can be reassured that, all right, I contributed something today. So these kids, I mean, not only are they have a place to go, but I mean, they have a place to become involved. That's awesome. That's outstanding. Hit me in the feels. All right, let's talk a little bit about you, Mari. Now, you're a peer leader over there. Well, tell me about that.
Well, basically a peer leader is the youth run part of it. Basically what we're in charge of is running the meetings. So, you know, we have programming meetings where we talk about what kind of meetings have the youth been wanting. So whatever we feel is a great topic, you know, the youth advisors will choose which youth advisor, peer leaders, will be on that night, and basically we put together the meeting. We focus, like they've said, a lot on, you know, things like safe sex or just fun activities. We do a lot of icebreakers, so the youth get to, like, you know, break down any barriers between each other. And basically we just, you know, we try our hardest to make the meeting run smoothly and give the chance for the youth to express themselves in any way that we can let them. And we also always try to promote any sort of education. We really try to promote like risk reduction. So at some point in the meeting, whether it's a fun meeting or a serious meeting, we'll always try to promote the idea of, you know, things like what can you do in your life to reduce any sort of risk? You know, whether that be safe sex or drugs or anything like that. We always want to educate during the meetings at any point. So that's what we try to do.
I mean, that's important. We've got a group of kids who are between the ages of 14 and 23. I mean, if there's any time that kids are going to get involved in something that maybe they shouldn't, it's then, because they don't know. Not only that they don't know, but I mean, they haven't really been exposed to it. And maybe they are at an early age and it's something they can avoid, but it's great to know that you guys are out there for them. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about NAGLY and some of the awesome services that they offer. So stay tuned.
The average text takes your eyes off the road for nearly 5 seconds. Stop the texts. Stop the wrecks. Visit us at stoptextstoprex.org.
This new mom is struggling to get the skates just right. And now she's holding on for dear life. Her kids can see she may have broke her knees. They still love her though she looks like she's attacked by killer bees. I'm allergic. Prove you don't have to be perfect to be the perfect parent.
Thousands of siblings in foster care will take you just as you are.
Welcome back to the LynnCAM TV Show. If you're just joining us today, we have the leaders from NAGLY, the North Shore Alliance of Gay, Lesbian, Bisexual, and Transgender Youth. These guys are an organization that focus on the whole North Shore. They're located in Salem at 211 Bridge Street, and they meet every Tuesday from 6 to 9 p.m. For anybody who might have questions, or maybe they have questions for somebody else, here with me today we have Stephen, Glenda, and Mari. We've been talking a lot about your programs, what you guys offer for services, the mission that you have. During the break, we talked a little bit about how you guys were involved in the news, and you made national headlines this year?
Actually, it was international, and it was a big surprise to us. Salem had an agreement. Salem, Mass. Had an agreement with Gordon College, which is a conservative religious college north of Boston, to run their old town hall, the museum, and the theater there. And Gordon College's new president sent a letter to President Obama asking to be exempt from the non-discrimination clause that he had passed for LGBT That first made the news. Mayor Kim Driscoll, who's a great supporter of Nagley, she's just been amazing, wrote a letter to me and posted it on her Facebook page saying we have to sever ties with Gordon College, that they can no longer manage our town hall because of their policy, which is against our city's policy. Glenn Beck got a hold of that piece of news and began espousing comments, I guess, on his national program and encouraging people to call Kim Driscoll's office, which they did by the score. And in return, Kim Driscoll said that she would donate $5 to Nagley personally for every hate call she got. That letter, within 48 hours, was posted on the Wall Street Journal, was on Slate.com, was on Boston.com, and it really went viral over those 48 hours. And we got more than 550 individual donations from virtually around the world.
Wow.
So we have great support in the city of Salem and from the other local communities as well, but because that's our home base, that was pretty amazing to all of us.
You know, it's without a doubt as to the value you guys are bringing to the community, because I mean, these issues exist. And whether or not organizations out there want to really recognize that, I mean, they really should, because the people that they're accepting, whether or not they know it, are probably in the same situation. And they're looking for the same type of advice. I mean, acceptance is something that we're dealing with every single day, whether it's race, sexual orientation, the way that you look. It's tough. I mean, it's just people being people, and at the end of the day, it's like, why can't you accept me for who I am? Like, how much of an inconvenience do my life decisions bring to you? Seriously, out of everything that happens, I mean, I think everybody should really be focused on being a better driver first than who is, you know, in your community and what they're doing. One big topic today, hot topic you hear every single day, even like the interns that we work here, a lot of the interns that come into LynnCAM were like, hey, we want you to develop a PSA, whether it's about, you know, bullying, or maybe, you know, being aware of teen pregnancy or driving safe, those types of things. And always, like the first suggestion out of their mouths is bullying. And bullying is definitely more prevalent today than in my day. I mean, it was something that would happen, you know, walk down the hall, hey, you're fat. I know that, thank you. Have a nice day. But these kids, they're subjected to it every day via social media, what they're watching on TV, the types of conversations that these kids are having over text messages, groups texts. Is bullying prevalent at your organization? Is something you guys deal with?
Yeah, actually a lot. We have a lot of different youth coming in and sharing their stories in check-in. Check-in is in the beginning of the meeting, and they can express how their week was. And we got a lot of concerns. That's when outreach comes in, and if they're getting bullied by a staff member at school, that's when outreach from Nagley will go to their school and advocate for this youth. I think that's wonderful. We also teach how to handle hatred. We teach how to turn it around and not focus on what they said, but focus on what they're proud of. We teach confidence, and we talk about it because it is real and it's out there. And sometimes just talking about it and having your support system there, that helps a lot. And I think we tackle that pretty well.
The fact that you guys are sending advocators out to actually speak on behalf of these kids is like, I'm just like, that's awesome, man. Like, I can't even express how awesome that is. Because I mean, here you are, you think you've got nobody. I mean, you can't come out to your parents because you're not sure how they're gonna be. You can't come out to your friends because you're not sure how they're gonna be. And you can walk into this place and say, hey, I'm being bullied. And they're there for you. That's outstanding. Now, Mari, you're a peer leader over there. So a lot of these kids identify with you. I know when I first got into coaching, I was very young. So the kids were always like willing to tell me everything. Yeah. And some of the things you're like, hey, that I don't want to know. You know? Yeah. Well, let's talk about you being a peer leader. What are some of the types of things that you help these kids do? They must identify with you because you're younger, right?
Oh, absolutely. As soon as I come in, you know, I mean, this is more just because I think I've created a leadership role,
Yeah.
well, from NAGLY. And as soon as you come in, you know, the youth will come up to you and just be like, Mari, listen to my coming out story that literally just happened yesterday. And I'm like, okay, you know, and this is before NAGLY even starts. This is just social hours. So, you know, we get a lot of time to connect with the youth before the seriousness of the meetings start. And so I get a lot of time to really connect with them and know about their personal lives in a professional way, but also just being able to connect with them, knowing that I've gone through what they've gone through, or I've heard of other people who have gone through what they've gone through, and just really being able to be there for them as, I guess, as an older sister in some sort of way, and also just being there as a friend, and also teaching them and educating them on what they need to know and what NAGLY wants to teach them. So I love that because I really get to have both sides that are just so helpful to them, and I love doing that.
I mean, being in the same seat as them, you know, as a youth yourself, I mean, it must have been really easy for you to transition and be like, hey, this is what you're going to go through.
Yeah.
But you must have faced some objections or really just obstacles, so to say. Can you talk about that a little bit?
I mean, I don't think there were really many obstacles. I think part of what was hard was becoming a leader, but only because I was stepping out of my shell as being a youth. You know, when you first come to NAGLY, you get all really shy because you don't know, and when you come to NAGLY for the first time, most people have never experienced anything like it. So for a youth to come in and only for a few months be a youth and just be like, yeah, I'm a youth, this is awesome, and then for someone to be like, I want you to be a leader now, and I'm like, okay, so let's try this, and you really transition a lot. Becoming a peer leader helps you grow so much that we always try to promote youth. You know, if you're interested, be a peer leader because you will grow so much. And I know I did. I started off as a shy girl who didn't know much about the LGBT community, but as I went to trainings as a peer leader and as I just started to run meetings, I became so well educated in the community and so well educated on risk reduction that I was able to teach these youth all these things, and there's no better pride than that, to be able to be that educated and to help others in that sense.
Yeah, it's part of your lifestyle
Yeah,
now.
absolutely.
You know? That's awesome. And you know, whether you know it or not, you know, your example that you're setting, you're leading through example. So essentially, you're going to be bringing more peer leaders into the organization, which is just outstanding. I don't foresee you not being a part of this organization, NAGLY. I think you're going to be there for a very long time.
Oh, yeah.
So peer leaders, this is something that you guys are. Would you say you're in need of peer leaders, Steve?
Yeah, for the most part, our peer leaders come up through the ranks of NAGLY. It's not mandatory that they do that. We have adult leaders as well, many of whom have come up through the ranks of youth to peer leaders to adult interns to adult advisors. So there is a hierarchy or progression, but it's not necessary. You know, the more the merrier for us because it allows us to not pull on the same people all the time.
Right.
We do have peer leader interns right now who are learning the ropes, and I can say that, as I mentioned before, as a youth-run organization, our peer leaders and our peer leader interns and our adult advisor interns are just amazing at what they do, and you watch them blossom from being shy at the very beginning to being, you know, just
on a TV show.
Yeah, on a TV show, and you know, you watch them when a new youth comes through the door, and you know that they've made a mental note. I've never seen that person before. They do a little bit of inquiry around other youth. Have they been here before? Who is this person? And then they'll make sure they go over and meet them and welcome them in. So their roles are just amazing. I mean, they are the foundation of NAGLY. They really are.
One of the coolest parts about doing this show is meeting advocators, and you know, these people are all out there just giving up time, and it's like today you hear all the, I'm not going to do that. I mean, nobody's going to pay me for my time, but it's just like people like you guys are going out and you're doing this on your own free will, which is just outstanding. So I want to talk a little bit about maybe some people, volunteers. How do people get involved if they're interested? Say they're watching right now. Are you accepting volunteers?
It's been a very tumultuous 6 months. We've been going through some grant applications, and the whole thing with Gordon College has just that happened the first week I became executive director. So it just
nice.
It's just kind of been going crazy. We're always looking for help. You can email the NAGLYleaders@gmail.com. We do have more programs that we're hoping to institute in the next couple of months. We're hoping to start a middle school group. So I get emails all the time about 12 and 13-year-olds from their parents, from their therapists, from their guidance counselors saying they have no place to go. And really they don't. It's very difficult to get GSAs into middle schools because the parents go ballistic thinking that we're trying to convert. But those are the youth that really, really are struggling. They have no peers to talk to. They have no parents that are accepting. And they know that something different is going on with them. So we're really working diligently to get a group going for middle school people. A few weeks ago, we had a woman come in from health quarters in Beverly to talk about the service, the medical and health services they provide for youth. And it was the 13 and 14 and 15-year-olds were asking questions that it became very, very clear that these youth need to have these questions answered. You know, that they were asking questions I never would have asked at 13 or 14.
Yeah.
So to get those answered from knowledgeable people is far better than hearing it on the playground.
Yeah. That's the big thing. You guys are knowledgeable about this. And one thing that you're going to see is in the future, there are going to be people who you're going to bump into the streets, and they'll be like, hey, you help me. And you'll be like, well, I don't know who you are. You're going to help that many people. Watch out for these guys. NAGLI, they're an outstanding organization. The North Shore Alliance of Gay, Lesbian, Bisexual, and Transgender Youth, located at 211 Bridge Street in Salem, Mass. on Tuesdays, 6 to 9 p.m. They'll be having a meeting, so come on down if you've got any questions. You can also visit them at www.nag gly.org. They're on Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. That's it for the show from the studio here at LynnCAM TV. I'm Sean Donahue, wishing you all the best. So this